Welcome, welcome, welcome. You are joining us for episode 12 of Let's Talk Immigration, where I tell you, or we tell you a little bit about what's going on in the immigration world, and you give me questions and answers. You give me the questions, I give you the answers. It'd be more fun if I gave you the questions and you gave me the answers. Maybe we'll do that in another format someday. Um, Today, the first thing I wanted to talk about is something I saw on Monterey's, hi James, on U.S. Consulate in Monterrey, Mexico's Facebook page, because it allows me to talk about something that is important. Let me see how to do this. Share screen. Okay. What they posted was this consular officer or consulate official doing a great job wearing his mask and everything. But over on the far left corner, I noticed that there was a stamp, and we can read the words on the stamp. It says canceled without prejudice. And I thought, I need to talk to people about this, because about once or twice a month, I have a visa applicant who was issued a visa, and the embassy calls and says, "Hey, come back. We forgot something." That's usually what they do. They don't say what they're going to do. They say, "We forgot something. Come back." And the visa applicant comes back. They take the passport at the door. They stamp with this little stamp, canceled without prejudice, and hand the passport back with the visa canceled. This is why, in my view, when you are issued a visa to the United States of America, you go to the airport and get on a plane. Because at any moment after the issuance of that visa, before you enter the United States, that visa can be canceled. And so if they change their mind, if they are made aware of information that you are not eligible for the visa after you're issued the visa, until you enter the United States, they can come back and stamp it with that mean little blue stamp with the red dot on the bottom. It's a mean little machine. So everybody needs to be aware that State Department has that authority, and they actually have a little tool to do it. Okay. So if you're issued a visa and you're just going to Starbucks and you're going to the mall and the disco, and I'm in no hurry to come to the United States, that's bad. Don't do that. Go to the airport, get on a plane, come to the United States. Once you enter the United States, you rights attached to you as a lawful permanent resident, and completely different situation than if you just have a piece of paper printed in your passport. So I'm glad I got the opportunity to share that. Other thing I want to talk about this week, the ICE lawsuit that I'm working on, asylum seekers seeking to assure their safety versus Johnson. As you all know, the people that are watching close, we already filed that complaint. 21 plaintiffs, but it's a class motion. It's a class action lawsuit. I'm working on the motion for class certification. I'm also going to amend the complaint to add a few more parties, but no more. If you're watching and thinking, "Oh, I want to be one," no, they came in at the last minute after we already filed. I'm not going to add more parties besides the ones that came in at the last minute. Okay. So if you are one of the 6,200 people affected by the ICE's data breach, understand that our goal is for it to be a class action. And so we are seeking relief for all, okay? Not just the plaintiffs in the case. So hopefully you will be able to benefit. Our goal, obviously, is to get an immigration benefit in the form of something that is sufficient to address the harm and the danger that ICE has created. Secondarily, I'm seeking actual damages and punitive damages in the complaint. That is not as important as protecting the victims from danger. So that's our priority. So I wanted to say that about the ICE lawsuit. That's all I have to say really today on anything that's going on as far as like with us or immigration. So I'm going to jump right into questions and see what's going on. If you have a question, you can submit your question either on YouTube in the comments or Facebook comments or on Telegram, and my assistant will copy paste them to where I can see them. So first of all, I want to acknowledge James for being our most loyal viewer. Hang in there, James from Liberia. I'm going to say that name wrong. Bonjour, Richelieu Louis Bantu. Okay. Anas says, why F2B No Movement? Okay, so what he's talking about, I think, is the visa bulletin. The visa bulletin has not moved for family preference categories hardly at all over the last year, 18 months really. And the reason is because the consulates themselves have not been issuing that many family preference visas relative to other visa categories, especially relative to tourists and students, which are very important to the Secretary Blinken and the State Department currently. So as long as Secretary Blinken has it in his head that tourists and students are more important than family members of U.S. citizens and green card holders, we're going to have this problem. I have lawsuits pending that challenge this. We have a proposed amended complaint in Sonny, Wilson, and Santos in the Eastern District of New York before Judge Kogan that challenges this. We're waiting on his decision to see if that can move forward. We have a lawsuit called Naveed versus Blinken that challenges the NIV prioritization scheme and also the expansion of consular officer authority. That is in the District Court of Columbia. So before Judge Walton, I guess. So we are challenging this. I don't know that anyone else is, but I agree it's awful that family preference categories are not moving in the visa bulletin. And I'm going to continue to fight to get the State Department to acknowledge their duties with respect to those categories. James says, you need some time to invite some of your clients on your live. That sounds fun, maybe scary for some maybe too much fun, James. I don't know. I don't know how you might turn this live into a great big party. But I appreciate the suggestion. Okay, we don't have any more questions today. So I don't know if that means you all want to end up early. Is there anything else I want to talk about? I've never got 8 minutes into a live without someone typing DV 2020. So I'm going to pretend like someone typed it, okay? We still do not know anything on the appeal for the Circuit Court for the District of Columbia for the Gomez, Goodluck, Ray cases. And that's what we're waiting on. We're waiting on opinion from the Circuit Court appeals. So no more questions. What are y'all doing? I need questions. Oh, man. What else am I going to talk about? Mandamus lawsuits. Some of you out there are stuck in an unreasonable delay at any part in the immigration process, except for those of you whose visa is not, case number is not current in the visa bulletin. But if you are any other situation and you're experiencing unreasonable delay, mandamus lawsuit may be the solution. Mandamus lawsuits they're called that, but really what it is about suing the government over an unreasonable delay. They are particularly effective with people that are in AP. So if administrative processing. So if you're a visa beneficiary or you are the visa applicant and you have had a visa interview and they have had you in administrative processing, either they gave you a DS 5535 form or those questions where they say, what's your social media? Like they want to sneak up and read your post or something. What's your social media or your travel history, that kind of thing. If they've asked you those questions and then it's been a couple weeks or it's been a month or it's been 6 months or it's been 3 years, I want to get you out of that AP. And a mandamus lawsuit is an extremely effective tool to do that. Richie Lou asked if there's been any update from the court. He's not asking which court. I'm just going to guess he's talking about the DV lawsuits, and there's no update on Gomez, Good Luck, or Ray. Okay, we're still waiting for an update on those. So come on, I need some more questions. I know you all have questions. DV 2023 selectees. There might be one watching. We do represent DV 2023 selectees. We charge $1,000 now and then $1,000 after your entry. So if you're not successful in getting a visa and entering, you only have to pay the first $1,000 up front. What that representation covers is representation in consular processing. That means we will communicate with KCC and the consulate on your behalf. I think a lot of people don't hire us because they don't realize how valuable that is. And then they come to me on Telegram after they mess up and expect me to fix it. And usually I can't. So strongly recommend that if it's in your budget, that you choose us or an immigration attorney to represent you in any immigration process, right? So I think I have another question here. Faisal, I can't imagine how many cases in Circuit Court of Appeal. I've seen lots of cases have been in this last 4 months. About more than 40 cases have been heard by the court after our case. A lot of cases I don't even think have hearings before the Circuit Court of Appeals. I'm going to type into Google how many cases are before the Circuit Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia. Columbia has a U in it, not an O. Sometimes I mess that up and I look dumb when I do that. I do not see the answer. Google is not helpful. It would take more research. I would imagine it's thousands of cases. But some of those cases are simple and some of those cases are complex. Our case involves immigration law and a novel issue of immigration law that's never happened. What Trump did has never happened before. So it's the first time a Circuit Court of Appeals has ever considered these issues. So it would not be reasonable to expect them to do it fast. So any more questions? What other products do we offer? I'll go ahead and talk about other products we offer. We offer traditional USCIS processing products too. Like we will represent you with an I-130 petition. Say you are a green card holder or a U.S. citizen and you want to petition your family member. We do that. Okay. If you are a U.S. citizen and you want to petition your fiance with it's called a Form I-129F. We do that. There's a lot of consulting around that, okay? Because it has to be done in order. Like you can't petition, U.S. citizen cannot petition their fiance unless they meet, okay? So U.S. citizen has to get on a plane or a boat or something and has to meet the fiance before the petition can be filed. Okay, we have a question. James says, if the Court of Appeals decides not to respond to the Good Luck appeal, what will you do? They will, that's not a thing. Courts don't forget about an appeal, okay? They will respond. There's nothing that you can do until they respond. Okay. I'm not seeing any questions, so, which kind of surprised me because I'm like 100 messages behind on WhatsApp and Telegram with questions. I guess I could read those questions and answer them here. Let me do that while you're all getting your questions together. Is there anything new in the good luck case? No. No, that's from one of our clients. Oh, this is a U.S. citizen that's saying, what are my options? Should I do the fiance or should I do the spouse route? I'd like to talk about that for a second. There are advantages and disadvantages to both routes. If you want to get your fiance into the United States as soon as possible, even though it may be more expensive, the fiance petition may make sense because you don't have to do the logistical burden of arranging a marriage. Or marrying is what I meant to say, not arranging a marriage. Like if you've met recently, we can just go ahead and file that petition really quickly, right? But if you're calling me and you got your boyfriend or girlfriend and you're like, which way should we go? Well, I can't do a marriage petition until you're married. Also, can't do a fiance petition if you're a green card holder. So you have to get married in that situation. Let me see here. Rochella says, if we come out victorious at the appeal court, it might not even be the final decision, according to Britt. So we will have to wait again. It's interesting how you frame that because you said if we come out victorious at the appeal court, it might not be the final decision. You know, if the opposite happens, if the Circuit Court of Appeals finds for the government and we did not come out victorious, I'm pretty sure that you would want us to consider appealing ourselves. So the fact that there is a chance that the 3-judge panel's decision can be appealed to the full circuit or possibly even to the Supreme Court, that could benefit you as well. So don't dismiss it as a bad thing. It's justice, okay? Britt is correct, though, that there may be another step, but that's true whether or not we win or lose. Salah says, hello, Mr. Morrison. What do you think might be causing the delays in processing at U.S. Embassy Nairobi? The scheduled cases are very few so far. I don't have specific knowledge on what's causing the delays in Nairobi. I have a couple theories. I think that embassy may be understaffed. But then also, I'm going to show you all how to answer your own questions so that you don't have to rely on me so much. Teach a man to fish, right? So if you type in visa statistics in Google, this is the State Department. It's visa statistics. They've got immigrant visa statistics and non-immigrant visa statistics. Non-immigrant visa statistics include things like students and tourists and work visas that are students and things like that. November 2022, by post and class. Nationality in class would give us the nationality of the visa applicant. Post would give us the embassy. So we want to know what non-immigrant visas were issued by Nairobi in November, which is the last month we have statistics available. Oh, so they did have capacity to issue 1,994 B1, B2s. Not that many student visas, just 121. That's interesting because if we go back and we look at immigrant visa statistics for November, for that same embassy, they don't make it very easy to do this, by the way. We see in the month that they issued 1,442 B1, B2 visitor visas, they only did 23 DVs. Spouses of U.S. citizens are two categories, R1 and CR1. So you add those together, 3 plus 21. They did 24 spouses of U.S. citizens. Secretary Blinken, if you're listening, this is embarrassing. It's shameful that you will not let African American families reunite, be together, yet you are pumping out tourist visas like crazy to make Disneyland happy and the hotel industry happy. I really look forward to someday when there's accountability for this and for the State Department stops prioritizing business over American families. Well, for that matter, I mean, it's not like it hurts our economy to reunify these families either. You've already, the $330, the application fee is paid for this consular officer to serve you. So really the State Department's just not being managed correctly. They could take in more money if they they were just staffed to do the business, right? I'm a grumpy boy today. Jata managed to join on YouTube. Great. Yeah, if you have a question, type it, Jada. Yenna says, oh my goodness. Hello, I'm watching your stream on Telegram. Can't find a place for my question. That's weird. There should be a link on Telegram. Maybe we haven't mastered that yet. Okay. You're a 2020 winner from Russia and Klein and Big DV. I'm hoping by Big DV you mean good luck. So my answer is based on Klein and Big DV, meaning that you are a good luck plaintiff. I went with my family to USA as a refugee and asked for political asylum in the border, USA and Mexico. It wasn't safe anymore to stay in Russia for us to wait until Meta allowed to start the interview. Okay, Meta is not the person that's holding up interviews for good luck right now. It's the circuit court. Well, it's the Biden administration for filing this appeal, but it's the Circuit Court of Appeals. Are there any way that you can help us revive our green card and we can make adjustment of status? Okay, Yana, there are some challenges in front of you. One of the challenges that you have in front of you is good luck is not about adjustment of status. Good luck was about visas, okay? And you don't need a visa anymore. You're already in the United States. We are hoping for the people that it's important to, that the government's interpretation of the order allows for adjustment of status with reserve visas. We don't know if that will happen. I've asked government attorneys, and he said that they haven't decided yet. The Department of Homeland Security and the State Department need to make that decision together, and they haven't made that decision yet. I don't think they will make that decision until we prevail on the appeal. That's the first challenge you have in front of you. The second challenge you have in front of you is you have to have lawful status to be able to adjust status. So when people enter without a visa, that's not lawful status. Now, if you apply for asylum within the first year, there's an argument that it's not your fault that you don't have a status. We represent people with asylum too. So if you have not filed for asylum yet and you intend to do that, give us a ring, contact us. You only have 1 year from the time of entering the U.S. to seek asylum. Otherwise, you need special permission about like changing conditions in your old country or something like that. So those are the two major obstacles you have to adjusting status to a reserved good luck visa. One, we don't know if those visas, those green cards, will be available uh, for people adjusting status, and have the government has already hinted that they might not be. The government attorney tried to argue with me about it. And then the second thing is, even if they did allow it, um, lawful status is ambiguous right now for you. And I've seen agents in the Northern District of California, USCIS agents, say that you are in status for the purpose of DV if you have filed for asylum, but the delay is with the USCIS that you haven't got asylum yet. And then I've seen USCIS officers in other parts of the country, especially Florida, deny those adjustments of status, where they say, no, you don't have lawful status to adjust status. So you have some hurdles before you. By entering the U.S. to seek asylum, it's almost like you are letting go of the good luck or route. Okay. It's just, I mean, there's a chance that maybe you could get scheduled at an embassy and get what's called advanced parole. We have one client we're doing that for right now. Actually, we're for DV 2023 client that is inside the U.S. We're trying to get them advanced, not advanced parole. We're trying to get them permission to be able to enter the U.S., a reentry permit, so that they can leave to go to the interview. But if the interview doesn't work out, they can still re-enter the U.S. It's a very risky situation, because if you're in the U.S. seeking asylum, but if you leave, when you come back, they're like, well, I thought you were scared to be out there. Why are you leaving? So every time you have to deal with a Custom and Border Patrol officer before you are a U.S. citizen, you're vulnerable, right? So I like to avoid that as much as possible. So anyway, great question. Sorry, my answer drug on a little bit. Faisal says, I have a friend, a green card holder. He got married. He was wondering if it's helpful to take an attorney to expedite his file. And he asked me about the fees in your law firm if you're offering that service. I think that people that try to do immigration processes on their own to save money, it's like cutting their own hair. I know it looks like I cut my own hair. I didn't, but I just don't know how to work with it, I guess. But what I'm saying is, this is not what you do for a living. So why would you think that you're the expert at doing it? I have people come to me all the time needing mandamus lawsuits for an unreasonable delay. That is not the unreasonable delay. The fault is not on the State Department or USCIS. It's because they made a mistake. So I always recommend that anyone involved, like seeking an immigration benefit, uses an attorney. It doesn't have to be me. Lots of immigration attorneys out there. But we charge $2,000 to represent a single client in consular processing. That's whether or not you hire us in the very, after your I-130's petition's approved, or whether you hire us after the interviews happen and you just need me to send emails to the consulate to see if we can get you out of AP. So our mandamus lawsuit might be helpful to him, depending on when his DQ date is. You didn't tell me that. Okay. Hanny says, when it took a long time for the panel to take a discussion, does it mean that there's a descendant in the panel? No, it could mean, a good question. It could mean that they just haven't considered it yet because they have other cases in front of it. People asking about DV 2020 and 2021. I've already said we don't have any answer yet. Hello from Albania. Hello from San Diego, California. Hanny Andy says, is the freezing of the visa bulletin for the months of March 2023 an indication of the issuance of visas since 2021? No. I don't know what visa category you're talking about, but the answer is no. I don't know what visa category you're talking about. If you're talking about family preference categories, yeah, it's like a pipeline. So if they're not issuing family preference visas, you're not going to have the visa bulletin move. Question from Telegram. Yeah, no, I've already addressed that question. You've applied for asylum. Great. I hope you've applied for work authorization too. Well, you can do that after 6 months. I'm praying and hopeful we will come out victorious at the appeal court. Me too. But which month exactly will State Department start to issue visas if we win? That question is not logical because we don't know when we would get the decision on the appeal. So how could we know when something happens subsequent to that? I mean, Judge Mehta will have a big say on that when you're talking about good luck because we have not won summary judgment yet in good luck. And he will need to deal with that motion. Yana says, does it make any sense for me to schedule an appointment with you in New York City to talk about my situation? I live in Chicago, but ready to come to make any sense. I haven't been in New York since 2019, so if you make an appointment for me, I might not be there. We generally don't do in-person appointments because our firm grew during COVID. Everybody works remote from home with home offices. And also, since we don't charge for consults, the easiest way to talk to us usually is to just try to text me, right? So why don't we put my phone up as a banner? Can we do that? I don't even know. +1. I'll probably regret this. Oh. Nope, I created a folder. Apparently the internet is hard. So my phone number, my cell phone is 714-661-3446. 714-661-3446. If you want to talk about your specific case, give me a call. Is there any lawsuit going on which past DV winners can join? No. Any news about DV 2020? Just for giving some hope. And no, there's no news, and I'm not going to make up news to give you hope. There's no news. Okay. So I'm going to end early today. It's a nice 30 minutes of Let's Talk Immigration. Join us next Wednesday for episode 13. I was told by Yana to repeat my phone number. 714-661-3446. Thank you. Adios.